What is going on, Governor? It's Chisgule here, and today we're going to talk about some end of KvK drama that has blown up and how we respond to it. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Rise of Kingdoms is nothing if not a game full of drama, and my goodness, was there a bunch of drama that unfolded at the end of our Season 3 of KvK. We're going to walk through the situation. We're going to share our response and our expectations. And I love having the opportunity to share my expectations for my kingdom and other kingdoms, as well as, honestly, give you some advice that hopefully you can pull away from our experience. So if you like Rise of Kingdoms videos, you want to talk about leadership in a mobile game where nobody's paid or gets special rewards for leading, then you should like or subscribe, or both, because we are a sponsored creator with Rise of Kingdoms and we create a lot of content, and I do like the topic of leadership in particular. Now, let me walk through very briefly a very short summary of kind of what happened and how we responded. At the end of KvK, a bunch of high-powered warriors from my kingdom went and started zeroing cities that they thought probably have quit the game. The reason that they went and do that at the end of the KvK doesn't exactly matter, but if it appeases people to understand why, it's to collect resources. They want to get resources for the next KvK, and they figure any player who's still in the Lost Kingdom, when literally nothing is spawning, in the last 24 hours, there's no forts, there's no barbs, there's no resource nodes, there's nothing to do there. If you're still there and you're off territory, you're probably not still playing the game. Now, I don't know that that's necessarily a fair assumption, and it doesn't really matter. They went and they zeroed cities, and those cities included our allies. It included people who were not our allies. It really didn't matter. If you had resources, you were hit. My stance on this is that we really shouldn't be zeroing our allies in any situation. And honestly, even the other people we should not have been zeroing. If we wanted to go and zero people for resources, we should have said, hey, at the end of KvK in the last 12 hours, we're going to go zero the people that are not on their territory because we're going to assume they've quit. We want to give you a fair warning. Here's a 1-week heads up. I think that might have been an okay thing to do. But because we just sort of had people that went and did it, I think that's not so okay. So I created a couple responses to this in a number of places, and I want to share those responses with you to be very transparent about how I think an appropriate response would look. And I do find it really fascinating, that, I am a leader of this kingdom, and even though, I went to sleep, spent 5 minutes with my baby and wife and went to work, and, came home, and at the end of the day, there was this storm of crazy that unfolded. I think it is pretty remarkable and honestly sort of encouraging that a bunch of people were like, I blame you, Chisgule, even though, I wasn't involved in the zeroing. I didn't tell people go zero whoever you want for resources, whatever. But I do like that people think, hey, Chisgule is accountable for all the humans in his kingdom. Okay, I will take that. As a leader, I guess that means something is going all right. Let me show you what my response was. I had 2 responses. One is a mail that I sent to the kingdom. And I'm going to read this and share my thoughts. And you can just grab some popcorn, enjoy the drama, because people love drama. Did you know that this is reality TV / drama and not a war game? Did you know that? It's also a war game, and it's a very fun war game. Okay, so I sent, as soon as I got home, I didn't even kiss my wife and baby. I was like, hi, I love you. I got to send a mail real quick. And my wife was like, okay, bye. So here's what I sent. I'd like to make clear our direction as a kingdom and what I expect for our future conduct. A lot happened today that does not align with where we're headed, and I want to make the expectations very clear, right? So this keys back to the story of Sun Tzu. I don't know if you all know this story. I feel like I've shared it before. But Sun Tzu, before he became super reputable, I think, and famous, was in a province of China, and the king of that region was going to be under siege. And he was, Sun Tzu was chatting with the king, And, Sun Tzu said, yeah, I can make warriors out of just about anybody. And the king says, well then, okay, you turn these concubines into warriors. So Sun Tzu goes and he teaches the concubines, like, here's how you wage war. And, we're going to do these stances and these moves. And, when we, hit the gong or play the drums, you're going to do these forms that we taught you. And he stands the concubines in front of the court, and they do the drums, and the concubines all laugh. They think it's a joke. And he says, no, I must not have explained clearly. When we bang the drums, or whatever it was, I'm not telling the story 100% accurate, like, you're going to do these forms that we taught you. And then they do it again, and the concubines, they just laugh. They can't handle it. So Sun Tzu goes, draws his sword, kills the 2 officers of the concubines, promotes 2 new officers, and says, when I play the drums, okay, you're going to do the forms we taught you. And then they did the forms. So it's on me, and this is the principle. Sun Tzu, no, it's on him that the concubines didn't understand it the first time, right? Like, okay, we're like a new kingdom here. Everybody is coming from a million different places and had a bunch of different perspectives. And in the past, this is what you've done. But, like, guess what? I've not made my expectations clear. That first round is on me. Now, the expectation is clear. You never hit your allies ever for any reason. So there are no situations where we will zero the cities of our allies. Now this is very clear. Now what happened today has already happened, and I hold no grudges. And to me, the psychological safety in the kingdom is very important. It's very important that people feel safe. So, like, look, people made choices. My intention for the kingdom was not clear enough. So I don't blame anybody. No harm, no foul. Although, gosh darn it, I do apologize to the people that got 0. That sucks, and I am sorry. There is harm, and there is foul. But, like, I guess the expectation was not clear, and that's on me, and I apologize for that. But what's already happened has happened. Like, I went to work, and I came home, and it was an S show. So, like, okay, let me see what I can do here. So, moving forward, now the expectation is very clear. Okay, I would very much like to avoid having to enforce this expectation. Like, don't make me do this. But it's going to be a really good video if I have to. But don't make me do this. Okay, I would very much like to have to avoid enforcing this expectation or any kingdom rule. But if I do, it's going to have to be a strict and swift reminder that expectations were made clear. Now, this gets into a really interesting topic, which is, like, how do you enforce kingdom rules with someone who is, like, 140 million power? And some number of folks were talking about, like, my response to the idea of, like, well, it's kind of hard to do. Let me paint a picture. Okay, this is a situation that really happened. And I think my response to the situation was taken out of context and is not helpful, and is does a disservice to the community when you do that. But let me share the full idea, okay? So a player who's 140 million power in a kill event wants to get kills. Now, in this particular situation, we had agreed with our allies and all the folks in the kingdom that the kill event rules were that you let people go, well, not that you let people go to the ruins, but you don't hit people in the ruins for, like, an hour before and an hour after. And it was sort of implied that you don't hit them on the way to the ruins. But one of our players, who's very powerful, who made massive contributions in war, they literally had the single most deaths in our kingdom, right? Huge contributor. They didn't just join rallies, okay? They didn't just join rallies. They joined rallies, okay? If it's a Cav rally, they would join with Caesar and Freddy so that they could send, like, 386,000 T5 cavalry into the rally, okay? They were big contributors. Really big contributors. I think that's the number of troops you can send with those. Anyways, I mean, it was nuts. So they were really hounding these ruins for kill event points. And at first, they did so inappropriately, hit some troops that were in there. We told them to back off. So they were standing outside the ruins, hitting people that were on their way over. And the question becomes, like, how do you get a player like that to just, like, mellow out? Like, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna, like, kick them from the alliance, maybe mess up my Arc League registration. And, like, kicking them from the alliance is not gonna stop them. Because like, it's not like I'm gonna not let them back in. They're a war hero. They made massive contributions to the kingdom. So, like, what is my enforcement? I give them a negative title? Like, sure, I give them a negative title. Like, okay. Like, what? Like, how do you get a 140 million power player who does not care? Right? Like, oh, you want to rally my city? Right? Like, we could have quadruple rallied his city. And he would have been like, woo, thanks for the kill points. Like, this, like, how do you wrangle a player who max purchases every bundle every day? Okay? I just, like, I don't think that people understand what that takes. So what they were doing is they were sort of 7-minute walk away from the ruins. And in this particular instance, my guidance was just swarm his marches. It's one player. Your whole alliance owns the whole area around the entirety of the ruins. He is walking from 7 minutes away. He's not even marching his marches next to each other. They're coming one at a time. It's one T5 player. Handle it. It's like you could do that, and that is a million times easier than basically any remediation that I've got. However, I get that that's like not an amazing situation. So we're thinking about like, okay, how do you enforce rules with huge players that are major honey badgers? Because we love players that spend that way and play that way and contribute in a manner that's commensurate with that. But how do you establish fairness and rules that they feel like yeah, I want to follow that? So, by the way, if you're in an Imperium Kingdom, I'd be curious to hear like how you've solved that problem. We're not an Imperium Kingdom. We're not huge like that. So let me keep going. I'm not saying that behavior is like excusable. What I'm saying is like, it is tricky to punish and enforce rules with players that are massive contributors and also massive spenders. Okay, that's the idea. But we're gonna enforce rules strict and swift from now on. And if that means we like chase you around and teleport around and like try to zero you until we're all out of troops, then so be it. But gosh darn it, the rules are going to be really clear. Now, when we take a big step back, now I scroll up a lot here. We are really young in how we have formed as a kingdom, okay? Like, this is a group of players that, like, most of them migrated days before KvK opened. They had no resources going into KvK, okay? And keep that in mind. They had no resources going into KvK. And we are meshing all of these different personalities and motivations and awesome players all meshing together for the first time. It's honestly an incredible feat that we were winners of this KvK, given that like many people here had never played together before. And I love the diversity that we have in the kingdom. This to me is very exciting. In order to make our future direction and expectations even more clear, a collection of R4s from all of the fighting alliances in the kingdom will jointly write a code of conduct for all members of the kingdom. So I want to solve the problem here, right? Like, leaders don't make shit posts and blame. Like, leaders solve problems, not blame. So here's one approach we're going to take to solving the problem. This will happen shortly after the new alliances have migrated into the kingdom so that representation of their R4s can participate. 2 of those alliances already have their officers here, and they're bringing players in. It's going to happen in a staggered way with the way Arc League is working, but like, yeah, we're getting some good players, and it's very exciting. And there's multiple other alliances that are still in conversations with us. Presumably they will come, but if not, like, that's okay. Like, we got a huge list of people that are eager to be here, and I'm eager to have you here. I'm proud of how we came together and fought in this KvK. And of course, there are, and will be more, bumps on our journey as a kingdom. Absolutely true. 100% this is true. I said it in my last video when I recruited for the kingdom. A card in the top if you want to see that. And it's definitely true. We will hit more problems like this, and we'll solve them. We're like an infant kingdom. We're like 3 months old, right? But we're like, it's like if a kid's like way oversized for their age, right? Like, they know not their own strength, right? Like, we got to figure these things out, and we're going to accidentally hurt ourselves along the way, and we'll figure it out, people. What matters now is how we move forward, and we take each opportunity to forever improve, which we do here. My promise to you is that in this kingdom, we will constantly improve how we are organized and conducted. Thank you for your ongoing support and trust. I do appreciate it. Let's keep growing strong. So that was my kingdom mail, right? Gives you a sense of like things that happened, why people got all worked up. But again, to my alliance members and to the kingdom members, like, we don't shitpost here. We don't solve blame. We solve problems. Okay. I don't care about blame. We solve problems. Okay. Okay. So I sent a second message, and the second message is now specifically to my alliance. Okay. This went specifically to my alliance, and I wanted to set the tone again around like, hey, I know that we all went like ham in this KvK, had a great time when there was a common enemy to fight. And like, now we actually need to start to resolve a lot of the differences of opinion in how we actually conduct ourselves and run the alliance. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So I noticed there was a lot of activity today, and this, of course, is an understatement. I want to take a moment to set a clear vision for Wolf and where we are headed. Wolf is an elite group of warriors that conducts themselves honorably, wars relentlessly, and strives to optimize at every opportunity. We play smart, treat each other with respect, and embrace diversity. Now I recognize that some of this is aspirational, because guess what? We just took a bunch of players who were a variety of things in a variety of kingdoms. We've got people who are already the, royal guard of a well-run kingdom, all the way to the people who are used to being pirates because they need to be. You gotta steal billions of resources to contribute, tens and dozens and dozens and dozens of millions of Sev wounds to the enemy. And to train tens of millions of troops, you gotta get resources. So some of these folks, we're taking pirates, right? And captains from the Royal Navy, and we're bringing them all together, and we're gonna get to the point where we operate like the Royal Navy. But that's going to take a little bit of time, people. Now, I get that the last few weeks have been a little confusing with regard to our identity as an alliance and how we want to represent ourselves. And this is really just directly addressing we zeroed some allies. In addition to the Kingdom Code of Conduct, which will be created soon. So I mentioned that earlier, right? Like with the R4s, we're creating the Code of Conduct. We will have our own alliance culture guidelines to layer on top. A draft of those will be created soon, and we will do so in a way that lets everyone who wants to be involved to participate in a meaningful way, right? So that's how that's going to go. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've facilitated culture exercises professionally, so this is going to be great here too. As a show of sincerity and our interest in improving, we do have an anonymous suggestion box, and this is true. We have an anonymous suggestion box in Discord. Anyone can submit anything anonymously, and to hold myself accountable, I will read every single suggestion. And to show how serious I am, I will make a video where I read every single piece of that feedback out loud. So get your popcorn, people. This is going to be fun. Providing constructive feedback is very welcomed. With that said, and this is the other point. You want to provide constructive feedback? I am all ears. But if you want to just complain, get out. There's the door. There's the door. I'm actually pointing at the door to my studio. I don't need victims in here. I need leaders, right? I don't need bad-mouthing. I don't need complaining. I ain't got time for any of that. So I expect my members to act as leaders. And if you see a problem, let's empower you to fix it. And if you don't think it can be fixed, then let's get the right group of people together to evaluate that and chart a path forward, okay? So you can do basically anything you want to try to solve the problem, except badmouth and complain and be a jack, all right? You want to work together? Cool, I'm in. Victim? Door. GTFO. I'm deadly serious about making Wolf one of the greatest alliances in all of ROK, and of course, with so many different perspectives, which is what makes us strong, by the way. This road is going to be a little bumpy at the start, obviously, but I genuinely believe that we have one of the most amazing collections of players in the game, and I want each of you to be on this journey with me if you want to be on it. All right? If you want to be on this journey, let's take this journey together. We will get better. We will grow, improve how we're organized. And as always, thank you for your patience, trust, and fortitude. So that was my immediate response. After writing these two messages, I kissed my wife and baby and spent some time with them. Gosh darn it, people. Gosh darn it. So, I am truly sorry for the folks that got zeroed. That's not how we're going to conduct ourselves in the future. And we're also not going to shitpost anywhere about our allies for any reason, because that seems inappropriate to me in any context. We're especially not going to take chats from closed channels with officers of those alliances and put them anywhere, because that seems extremely inappropriate conduct for anyone, anytime, anywhere. And that's not something we're going to do. In our kingdom, we do not do that. And if it happens, woo, consequences, baby. Consequences. And I get to put it on YouTube. For me, if somebody wants to fool with these rules, cool, man. I get a sweet video out of the deal, and I get to enforce the culture that I want this kingdom to have. I win all around. I can't lose. I can't lose in this. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I think this is a tough topic. I really struggled with exactly what I wanted to say. I'm proud of how we fought in KvK. I'm proud of how we are growing as a kingdom. I'm proud of how people really are molding and growing and forming together to make this awesome alliance that we will be, and this awesome kingdom that we are on our way to becoming. We are growing and we're in our infancy, and like I see it and know it. And I hope this helps you understand that like we'll get there. And I am truly sorry for the folks that got zeroed. Man, that sucks. My guidance to anyone in KvK is for no reason should you be off Alliance territory. Like, stay on territory. What are you doing? What are you doing? To give perspective, right? Like, to a player that is trying to train, millions of T5 troops, right? Like some of the players we have train like 1 million T5 a week, okay? For perspective, like 1 million T5 a week. So what that means is you need a lot of resources. So if you're off territory, right, you're basically like, to them, and I'm not saying it's right, but to them, it's like you put up a sign that's like, free resources here. I do not care about my account. In KvK, I was so serious about staying on territory that I literally, there was one occasion where I was so tired that I went to one of my alliance members and I was like, please confirm that I am on territory right now. And they said, yes, you're on territory. And then I went to bed. Okay? Like, be on territory and expect your territory is going to get destroyed. I don't think that the people who were looting cities destroyed territory to loot cities. I think they just looted the cities that were off territory, which is still not okay. And I get that you need resources, blah, blah, blah. So, if this video is at all interesting and helpful, if you like drama, if you like seeing, like, this is what I think potentially good leadership might look like, I don't know, like, I'm really open to feedback and how to do this better. But I am, like, really proud to see that, like, we're not going anywhere and shit posting. I think that there are some leaders in 83 that are excellent. I think there are some leaders in 42 as well that are excellent. My interactions with, whales from some of those kingdoms were all excellent. Yeah. Let's stay positive, people. Let's stay positive. Best of luck to you in your KvKs. Best of luck to you in whatever you're up to next. We are growing like crazy in this kingdom. We probably will flip Imperium. It's going to be crazy here. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a hell of a journey. If you're interested in that, links in the description for joining the Smash Squad Discord where we recruit for the kingdom. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom. And gosh darn it, stay on territory. Just put up a sign. Free loot. Take my loot. I mean, like, people, these resources I have are from 2 players that quit and they were like, here, just take my resources. Each player is like billions. Of course they're looting. But don't do it ever again. Such drama.